Have you heard what's happening with U.S. immigration right now? Because thousands of applicants around the world are suddenly seeing their visa decisions delayed, and it's all linked to Donald Trump's latest executive order. This new move has created confusion, anxiety, and in some cases, total freezes in visa processing even for people who submitted months ago. Immigrants everywhere are worried, lawyers are scrambling for answers, and social media is flooded with stories of people who had their appointments canceled overnight. So what's really going on here? Is this a temporary political stunt, or the beginning of another immigration crackdown? Stay tuned, because we're breaking it all down: what Trump's new order says, who it affects, and why it's already stalling thousands of cases. Before we start, hit like so more immigrants and families can see this important update before their applications get caught in the chaos. Let's get straight into it. The new executive order signed by Donald Trump just a few days ago has already sent shockwaves through America's immigration system. Officially, the order focuses on what the administration calls enhanced security review and work authorization standards. But in reality, it's a sweeping directive that affects everything from family-based visa petitions to student and work permits, even certain green card categories. According to early reports from several immigration attorneys, visa officers at U.S. embassies and consulates have begun holding applications for additional review immediately after the order was announced. This means that even people who completed their interviews and submitted documents months ago are now waiting again. No approvals, no denials, just silence. For many, it feels like déjà vu, a repeat of the travel bans and backlogs seen during Trump's first term. So, what's in this new order that's causing such a ripple effect? On paper, it directs the Department of Homeland Security and the State Department to conduct new risk-based assessments before issuing visas. In plain English, that means extra screening, more background checks, more documentation, and potentially new security questions for applicants. While that may sound like a reasonable measure, the problem is timing. These new reviews began immediately, without any transitional period for consulates to prepare. Inside sources from the immigration community say embassy staff were given overnight instructions to pause approvals until new guidelines could be fully implemented. That one-line "pause approvals" is what's created this wave of anxiety across the immigrant community. Applicants from countries like India, Pakistan, the Philippines, Nigeria, and Mexico have all reported the same message: your case is under additional administrative processing. For those unfamiliar, administrative processing is a catch-all phrase used by the U.S. government when they're conducting background checks or waiting for further instructions. It can last weeks, months, or even years in some cases. And right now, thousands of applicants are being pushed into that category even if their documents were already cleared. The real impact is emotional as much as bureaucratic. Imagine planning your move to the United States, selling your home, quitting your job, arranging schools for your children, and suddenly, your visa is on hold with no explanation. That's exactly what's happening to hundreds of families this week. Immigration lawyers are describing the situation as a silent freeze, because technically nothing has been denied, but nothing is being approved either. Now, if you remember, Trump has made immigration a central issue in every political campaign. He's repeatedly argued that the system is too lenient, that background checks are incomplete, and that fraudulent claims need tougher review. This new order seems to deliver on that rhetoric, giving consular officers wider discretion to delay or even deny applications if they have the slightest doubt. But here's the worrying part: there's no clear definition of what counts as doubt. Under the current wording, officers can trigger an extended review for almost any reason: missing documents, incomplete data, or even inconsistencies in intent. Lawyers say that vague language gives the government enormous power to stall cases without officially rejecting them. Inside the U.S., the effects are starting to show too. Immigration processing centers that handle green card and work permit renewals are already reporting slower movement. A few attorneys in New York and Texas have shared that employment-based applications, especially for tech workers under H-1B and L-1 visas, are now facing new background verifications before renewal. Even international students on F-1 visas have been warned that optional practical training, OPT, approvals may take longer than expected. For many immigrants, this situation feels like history repeating itself. Back in 2017, Trump introduced several executive actions that restricted visa categories, citing national security concerns. The result was widespread confusion, embassy closures, court challenges, and years of processing delays. It took the Biden administration significant effort to unwind that backlog, and now it appears we might be heading back down the same road. So, what's different this time? The key difference is that the new order doesn't target specific countries like the travel ban once did. Instead, it applies universally. Every visa case, from a British entrepreneur to a Filipino caregiver, can be subject to these enhanced reviews. It's a system-wide slowdown disguised as a security upgrade. And that's why immigration experts are calling it a soft freeze. It doesn't officially stop visas, but it slows them enough to create the same result. The political motive behind it is hard to ignore. With elections approaching, Trump's campaign has leaned heavily on immigration control as a key talking point. Announcing a tough new review system sends a clear signal to his base that he's keeping his promise to tighten borders without technically reinstating a full ban. It's a move that plays well politically but causes chaos administratively. Meanwhile, immigrant communities are reacting with fear and uncertainty. Social media platforms are flooded with stories: families separated at the last minute, students missing start dates, employers losing workers because their visas are under review. Hashtags like visa delay and Trump order are trending across Twitter and TikTok. People are tagging the State Department, begging for clarity. But so far, official responses have been vague, repeating only that additional processing time may be required. What's especially frustrating for applicants is that these reviews are happening silently. There's no public notice, no official press release detailing who is affected or for how long. Immigration lawyers say they only learned about the changes after dozens of clients started receiving identical delay notices across multiple embassies. It wasn't until leaked memos surfaced that the pattern became clear: the order had triggered a system-wide slowdown starting immediately. And here's where it gets even more serious: this kind of backlog can quickly snowball. The U.S. issues hundreds of thousands of visas every month: family reunification, employment, students, investors, refugees, you name it. If even 20% of those are delayed for additional review, we could be looking at hundreds of thousands of cases piling up within weeks. The longer this goes on, the worse it becomes. Immigration analysts predict that unless the administration releases clear implementation guidelines soon, the global visa system could experience another freeze similar to what we saw during the pandemic. And unlike COVID delays, this one is political, meaning it could last as long as the administration chooses. Now, let's talk about what immigrants can actually do right now. Lawyers are advising applicants not to panic, but to prepare. That means double-checking all documentation, ensuring that every form, photo, and background record is complete. For those already scheduled for interviews, it's crucial to stay calm and bring extra supporting materials. Consular officers have less flexibility under the new system, so the more prepared you are, the less chance your case gets flagged for review. However, even perfect paperwork may not be enough to avoid delays. That's why legal experts are urging families to plan ahead financially and emotionally. If you're waiting for a family-based visa, don't make irreversible travel plans yet. If you're an international student, talk to your university about possible late arrivals. And if you're an employer sponsoring workers, expect longer timelines. Behind the scenes, immigration advocates and human rights groups are already mobilizing to challenge the order in court. Several lawsuits are being drafted, arguing that the new policy violates due process rights by creating indefinite delays without official denials. Historically, such lawsuits can take months, but they often pressure the government to issue clarifications. Whether that happens this time remains to be seen. The irony is that the U.S. economy still depends heavily on immigrants. From tech innovation to healthcare and education, immigrants fill critical roles across every sector. Delaying visas at this scale could backfire economically, creating labor shortages and frustrating U.S. companies that rely on skilled foreign workers. Business groups like the Chamber of Commerce have already raised concerns, warning that this uncertainty could hurt American competitiveness. But for now, what's most visible is the fear: families afraid of separation, students unsure if they'll make it to campus, and employers worried about losing talent. Every hour, new stories emerge online: people crying in consulate hallways after hearing the words "your case is on hold." It's heartbreaking, and it's real. If you're watching this from outside the U.S. and waiting on a decision, the best thing you can do right now is stay informed and stay patient. Reach out to your lawyer or embassy contact regularly. Keep records of every communication. And remember, these changes are administrative, not personal. They're part of a broader political narrative, and like all such waves, they eventually shift again. For now, though, the uncertainty is deep. Trump's latest order has reignited the immigration debate once more, dividing opinion across the country. Supporters call it necessary reform. Critics call it disguised discrimination. But whatever you believe, one fact is undeniable: thousands of visa decisions are stalled, and real families are paying the price. So as this story develops, we'll keep watching closely. We'll monitor every official update, every new court filing, and every embassy announcement. Because for immigrants, information is power, and staying ahead of policy changes can make the difference between getting approved or getting stuck in limbo. If you found this update helpful, please take 1 second right now, hit the like button so that this video reaches more immigrants who might be confused or anxious about what's happening. You could be helping someone who's waiting for news just like you. And if you want real-time updates on immigration changes, visa news, and US policy analysis, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll break down every major order, explain what it really means, and guide you through every step so you never face this uncertainty alone. Because right now, thousands of immigrants are waiting in silence, hoping their dreams aren't delayed forever. Stay informed, stay calm, and we'll keep you updated every step of the way.